Well, being a mother can be incredibly a challenging juggling act, and an instruction manual would definitely help. Well, we may have one for you today as we are joined by Dallas Lewis, a mother of three and author of Why Some Animals Eat Their Young, a survivor's guide to motherhood. Dallas, welcome. You're joining us from Houston. Love the title of your book, by the way. It's hilarious.
Thank you. Thank you. It's so good to be here. Yeah.
All right. So you dived right into the motherhood business. So I understand that within a span of only 26 months, you went from getting married to having three kids. Boom, 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 just like that. So did you and your husband plan for things to happen this way, or was this unexpected?
No, totally unexpected. We planned to get married. We planned to have children. We thought there would be more space in between all of those events, and it turns out there really wasn't. I met my husband. We got married 6 months later, and then 6 months after that, we got pregnant, and I just stayed pregnant like all the time.
For what felt like forever, probably.
Yes, definitely forever.
What were the biggest adjustments that you had to make to how you envisioned your life would turn out once you married your Prince Charming? And his name's Jeff, right?
His name is Jeff. Yeah. So I the biggest adjustment that I made was not being able to sleep. When we had all of these kids, nobody tells you that babies don't sleep. They don't sleep at all. And they sleep more than their mothers, and they definitely sleep more than their fathers do. I think my husband morphs into some super stealth ninja at night because none of the children ever woke him up to fight bad guys, to fix tummy aches, nothing. I don't know what they thought I was going to do against a monster in the hallway, but I don't know. Nope, that's my job title. I fight bad guys, and I kiss boo boos.
So you were super mom.
Yeah, and I didn't sleep for almost a decade. I had a baby monitor next to my bed. I had 3 of them. And so I knew which kid to go to. And, then you'd make the rounds. Once you're upstairs, you just make the rounds and make sure everybody else is okay. And 9 times out of 10, you made more than one stop.
Right. Now, I mean, many moms describe motherhood as being the toughest job in the world. You have as well. So, why, in your life, in your opinion, why is motherhood the toughest job in the world? As if we can't tell already from just from your little bit of a
Oh,
story there.
well, just did I mention that we don't get any sleep? That I didn't realize. I want to take back all of the times in my kindergarten years and my first grade years when they wanted us to nap, and I said, "No, I'm good. You can't stockpile sleep." And it's just I was a stay home mom. That was what Jeff and I decided. Especially when we had so many of them, and it just didn't make any sense for me to work outside the home. But with that means that I don't ever leave my office. I'm on duty 24/7 with no interaction with people that can actually put coherent words together. And so it gets very tiresome. My sweet husband, he could actually leave his work and come home. I never left my work. I never left. So that just it makes it kind of wearisome at times. It's wonderful. I wouldn't change a thing. But it does make it a little bit
Hmm.
exhausting at
Yeah,
times.
I think definitely that's one thing you do hear about moms, especially stay-home moms, is that becomes their world, right? And you almost forget how to talk to other adults. But and you need those boundaries. So you believe that kids not only need boundaries, but they also want them. Speaking of boundaries, so kids need them. So without those boundaries, the kids are in control and not the parent. So why do you believe that our society is so confused about this role of parenthood?
You nailed it, because the kids are in control, and it totally goes against the natural law, the natural order, the hierarchy of the family. And there's so many instances that you see all over TV, you see them on the news, you see them all over social media, that little Junior runs the house, and little Junior doesn't pay the mortgage, and he doesn't pay the light bill, and we told our kids, we allow you to live here. That's your allowance. You are allowed to live here, and you are allowed to take out the trash when I tell you, and maybe I'll feed you dinner. And, I mean, it's the parent's job to be a parent. I wasn't friends with my mom until I turned 40. And, it's just not my job to be their friend. They have friends, but what they need are parents, grown-ups, and other adults around them to show them where their place in society is and how to behave like a functioning member of that society.
Hmm. Very good point. Now, you advocate that one of the greatest examples parents can give their children is to put each other first and model a healthy marriage. So, why do you believe that this is and why this isn't selfish?
Because of what I just said, it's our job to raise productive members of society and then release them into the wild. And if we've done our job as parents, we can do that, and then our children will go and be another generation of hands-on good parents. But in doing that, if we forget our spouse and we forget who we're married to, then by the time that last little chick leaves the nest, we're going to be having coffee with a stranger. And that is detrimental to any relationship. And, my husband has continued to date me for the last 22 years. And, and human babies are the most helpless babies on the planet until they're maybe 35. And then, they need guidance, they need a hands-on parent. But at the same time, that parent still needs to be able to connect. Mom and dad need to be more than just mom and dad. They need to remember that they're husband and wife. And that's the best gift that we can give our kids. So, because we want that trend to continue into the next generation and the next generation. And I think it's really, really important.
It is. And I can understand too, some people, maybe their initial reaction would be, oh, that's selfish that we're putting ourselves first, or I'm putting somebody before my children. But when you think about it, the spouse was there first in some cases and in a lot of cases. And that is how it's supposed to be. But yeah, I can see that kind of the guilt when you don't put your kids first. But I think we're not supposed to put our kids necessarily first in everything.
Mm-mm. No, no, we're not. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I would do anything. I would fight a grizzly bear for my children. Uh, but I would also do the same thing for my spouse, who's been there for me for the last 22 years, who loves me unconditionally. He's seen me at my worst. He's been my partner, my stabilizer, all of this through all the chaos, and he's been there. So I think that it's not selfish, it's self-preservation to be able to go for a weekend downtown and leave the kids at grandma's.
There you go. Now, Dallas, you use the acronym UFO a bit differently. So you call this unique family opportunities. So how do you navigate these situations, and what do you try to teach your children through these?
To be honest, I'm still learning that, as I have a lot of unique family opportunities on both sides of the family. Both sides, my side, his side, everybody. And the best advice I can give is, you know, you don't exactly know where everybody is in their personal daily life. And sometimes, it's difficult to look at a happy functioning family and you don't have that yourself. And so sometimes it gets a little wonky. And but the best thing to do is realize that his family gave him to me, and so there's a level of respect with that. And then my family, well, they gifted me to him, and my mother already said there's no refunds, so he stuck with me, which means he's stuck with my parents too. So, you do the best you can. You show grace to everybody, mercy, and just try to treat people the way that you would like to be treated. Doesn't always work, but you know that as far as it depends on you, you're at peace.
Yeah, I like that. Unique family opportunities. Is that a nice way of saying craziness? Family craziness.
So crazy, so crazy.
That's hilarious. Now, Dallas, with the COVID pandemic and all the changes that this brings about, so what advice do you have for children who are experiencing worry and anxiety? So many of our kids are experiencing that. Absolutely.
So my youngest actually does suffer from an anxiety disorder, and so that's something that is very, that hit very close to us. We were thankful, we were blessed to have our children in a parochial school environment, private school, that allowed them to work for a solution toward these kiddos that are, they've been on lockdown, they've been relegated to virtual school only, and now if they go back to school, they've got to mask up, and facial expressions are vital. They are vital to comforting a child, to getting your point across, to all of these social cues. And so as parents, when we've got our kiddos that are re-navigating the social scheme, it's just up to us to let them know that their home place is a secure spot for them, and that there's a lot of things that are going to go on in this world that are outside of our capabilities and outside of our control, and the only thing that we can do is give them a safe landing spot in the afternoons and equip them as best we can to do their very best.
hmm I think that's very important because it's happening. So many kids suffer from anxiety. And yeah, absolutely. Now, you say that marriage is hard and marriage with kids is almost impossible. So if you aren't willing to stand your ground and fight for what you have, so can you maybe elaborate on this a little bit?
Sure, it's the same with being my kid's best friend and putting boundaries up. Marriage, you've got two people coming into it that may or may not have known each other very well, and then you throw a kid in there, and honestly, babies don't come with instruction manuals. The hospital will
They should.
release you with that child. They
Scary.
don't call and check on you. Three times they didn't call and check on me, and they probably should have with my first one. But you've got to set those boundaries so that those kiddos don't run your house. Don't run your house, and that's what makes it so difficult. Is sometimes mom and dad are not always on the same page, and they really need to be. And that's what makes it so hard. You can navigate the first year of marriage by yourself, but when you start throwing little ones in there, and you've got one idea and he's got a different idea, and then don't forget your mother's got an idea and his mom has got an idea. You need to set some ground rules and pay attention to what's going on, or your marriage is going to suffer for it.
That's right, exactly. And then here come the crazies, right? Those unique family opportunities.
That's right.
Yeah, well, Dallas, you use lots of humor, obviously, in telling your stories and lessons that you've learned along the way. But at the same time, none of what you were experiencing was exactly funny, especially at the time. I'm sure that's how that felt. But what is your message to parents or those planning to become parents?
Let's see. My first message is practice with a puppy. Get a puppy first, and see if you can handle the see if you can handle the responsibilities. No, but my message is you got to be able to laugh. You've got to be able to laugh at yourself, and because your kids are going to provide multiple opportunities for other people to laugh at you, and so you just need to find the joy in things. This parenting thing is very, very hard, but it's awesome. I mean, it's totally, totally awesome. You get to watch a human come into this world, whether through you or through another avenue, and you get to raise. You have the benefit, the blessing of raising that human, watching their little minds click into place. Now, sometimes it's diabolical. You watch the next budding criminal in your own house, but they're so precious. They're so precious. And I'm thankful that I actually wrote all of these stories down when I did. That I kept a little journal, or I kept, my, I don't remember exactly when I started my blog, but it helps. Distance helps perspective. So if you can get just a little distance from it and have people to talk to, increase your mom circle, because we weren't created to be islands. We were created to be in community with each other, and nobody is perfect. You don't disregard what you see on Instagram and Facebook. Nobody's perfect. So just learn to just roll with it. You can't control you can't control the chaos. Just roll with it.
Hmm. Great advice. And of course, coming from a mom of your kids are now 18, 19, and 20. So you've had that span of experience that you can kind of share your wisdom with others. Thanks so much for being with us today, Dallas. Really appreciate it.
Uh, so fun. Thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed it.